pets during the shelter in order. And I wanted to, chat with Julie Bond. She's the expert certified animal behaviorist, to kind of help us out with what to do with our pets during this time, and to kind of, help their boredom and things like that, so we can be, the most normal we can. So Julie, tell us about your background and, how long you've been doing this.
Well, hi, Jeannie. Thanks for having me. I have been a certified animal behaviorist for almost 30 years. My background is I have a bachelor's degree in psychology from UC Davis and a master's degree in animal behavior from Davis as well. I treat all sorts of animals, but the bulk of my practice is dogs and cats.
Oh, okay. So during this time of sheltering in, what should people be doing while they walk their dogs? I mean, when dogs are going up to owners, how does that all work? Because I'm challenged with that.
Oh, definitely. And it's particularly difficult for people who have really social dogs. So their dogs want to, run up and see people or see other dogs. And while we're sheltering in place, of course, we're supposed to be keeping at a distance from one another. And that means we need to keep our pets from a distance as well. So when you're out walking, though, you got to be careful, because if you're social distancing, it may appear to your dog that you're actually fleeing from other people and their dogs. And that, of course, is going to create anxiety for your own dog. So you want to be very careful that when you are moving away from other people out there walking, that you still maintain what I call social etiquette, meaning you still say, good morning, it's good to see you, or, that's a lovely dog if they're walking their dog, or I hope you have a great day, something that gives your dog the impression that you're not actually fleeing from that other person, but that you are still socially engaging them, even if you're 6 feet or more away.
And so what do you do? I take care of these two dogs, Gus and Henry, and they are Cavaliers. They're super friendly and they just run up to people. So what?
Yeah. So you're going to have to be really cautious with that and try to, again, sort of think of yourself as having a bubble around you, and you want to keep things out of, a 6-foot bubble around you and those dogs. Try to keep them focused on you, because the bottom line is what the most current information that's come out. And again, this is based on guidelines from the American Veterinary Medical Association. We really need to keep strangers from petting our dogs. And petting our cats. I mean, but usually cats aren't walking up to people on the street, but sometimes it happens too. Because what happens is if somebody is carrying the virus, even if they're not aware that they're sick, they can pet your pet. And when they pet your cat or dog, fur is a porous surface. So it can get onto the cat or dog and then come back into your house. And then you can, transfer it to yourself when you're petting that animal. Now, it doesn't going to remain on that surface for a long period of time, but it still potentially can put you at risk. And the thing that we know now about animals is that they can be carriers for this particular version of coronavirus, but it doesn't make them sick. So again, they can carry it, but not be ill. So it's not that you need to worry about your animals getting sick, but you do need to worry about them being carriers and then bringing it back. And then potentially, you getting sick that way. So, if, inadvertently an animal gets petted by a stranger, it's probably not a bad idea, if it isn't bath day, to go ahead and run pet wipes over the area that was petted to try to, remove anything that might potentially be on your pet. Again, people need not to panic, and, porous surfaces and things like that are, if you look at the guidelines, yes, it's a mode of transmission, but it's not really the biggest worry out there.
Do you recommend any particular type of pet wipe? I'm thinking non-alcoholic, of course.
Right. Yeah. Well, pet wipes, all of them, for me, they're very similar to baby wipes, really. You're just looking for something that's going to attract anything on the coat, whether it's, pollen, dirt, or some viral process. But, obviously you don't want to be wiping down your animal with Clorox wipes, because that's not good for them. It's not good for us either. That would be
terrible. The poor animal. Yes, that's definitely a good point. And then how should we deal with our animals' boredom at home? Even, cats, dogs, even bunnies. I mean, like they don't know what's going
Yeah.
on. So what's your
Well, and
advice
they
on
can't
that?
figure out why we're around all the time, right?
Exactly. That's another that's
They're like,
another
what
thing.
are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be at work? It's hard because boredom is something that a lot of people didn't even really know their animals were experiencing, meaning their animals were probably bored before. It's just they were at work and didn't notice. So treating boredom is about mental as well as physical stimulation. So, physical stimulation for a dog, going for a walk, playing fetch, using a flirt pole toy, for example, which is like a fishing pole lure toy that you might use with a cat. Well, they make them for dogs, and you can exercise a dog with
Oh, okay.
that. So things like that will be good physical exercise for your dog. Then mental exercise are things like interactive toys. So Star Mark toys or Busybody toys or Nina Addison toys. But truly in a pinch, or if you're on a really tight budget, keep egg cartons, and you can put, their food into an egg carton and have them try to forage the food out that way. Or you can
Oh, that's a
use a
good idea.
muffin tin. You can put the food in a muffin tin and then stick balls over the top of where you've put all the kibble in there and make them knock the balls out to get to the kibble. Or, flip a muffin tin over and use the little mound areas to spread, food around.
Okay.
Even tossing food in your yard and having your animal forage for it is better than just feeding them in a bowl in terms of mental stimulation.
Oh, that's a great idea. So then what would you do for a cat? Like, my cat and a lot of, like my clients' cats are overweight because they're sitting around the house sleeping a lot. What do you suggest for that?
So cats like to forage too. So you can do what I call Easter egg hunt with your cats, which is to take their food and their dry food and spread it around so that they have to kind of, jump from perch to perch or from place to place to, to
Oh,
find what you've got for them. If
okay.
you've got an indoor cat, you can actually set up like an enclosure outside using an X pen. You can put a piece of plyboard over the top to keep them inside of it. But you can put a pen outside so at least they can be outside in it and be exploring the inside of that pen safely. You can set up bird feeders for them to watch.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
Planting bee balm or something like that attracts insects is exciting for a cat to watch. The fishing pole lure toys are good for cats. They make what are called ripple rugs and other interactive toys for cats that are fabulous.
Oh, wow.
That you can get them. You can get them on any of the major pet retail platforms as well as Amazon. But they will entertain a cat and get them both mental and physical exercise. One of my favorites looks like a block of Swiss cheese, and it's almost like whack-a-mole. You stick stuff down into the little holes, and your cat
Oh
has
my
to
gosh.
use their paw, to kind of get it out of the little holes, and it's fun. It's
Okay.
good for them.
That's a good idea. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to try that because a lot of my clients are asking me questions about things like that.
Yeah.
And then what do you think is going to happen when people go back to the office? Like, should I be concerned about pet separation anxiety?
I think it's going to be a big concern for a lot of people. So, particularly people who acquired animals to be home with them right now. So the animals aren't going to know anything any different than having those people around all the time. And then if you have a puppy, for example, or an adolescent dog who you've been spending all this extra time with, you're going to go back to work and they're just going to be devastated by the lack of interaction. So there's a couple things to keep in mind. Is one is if eventually they can go back to or join daycare, that would be, a good interim option. A lot of animals, though, can't do daycare, and it may be a while before that can resume anyway. So what people should probably be thinking about is that even when they're home during the day, that for periods of time during the day, they still, for example, crate their puppy or crate their dog, because those animals need to be separated from the people and have some downtime so that doesn't feel punishing and it doesn't feel negative. And particularly for puppies, I mean, these people that I've talked to, I mean, they're keeping their puppies awake all day long. And these puppies are, I mean, just wild and zooming
Keeping them
around
awake.
and Yeah, I mean, they really need to get those puppies napping in their crates several times a day in a quiet room so that they can rest and recuperate and not be crazy at night.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. What else have you heard from your clients, how their animals are reacting or challenges the clients have?
Well, it's funny because, I mean, while there's a great deal of people who've said, oh my gosh, it's so great, I'm getting all this, extra support from my animal. I've had a couple of people go, I think my dog's blowing me off. I laugh because, again, our animals are used to a certain amount of alone time during the day. And if you're a needy human and you're literally stalking your cat and trying to pick them up and pet them, your cat's like, could you just give me 5 minutes to myself?
Yes, it's true.
Again, we need our animals and they need us. I mean, that's the whole point here. But we need to remember that they have to have downtime too. And it's one thing to have your pet soliciting attention from you, but if they're over there asleep on their bed,
right.
we just let them rest.
Exactly.
Because it's rejuvenating to rest. And as much as we might want to pet them in that moment because we're feeling anxious, maybe taking a few deep breaths or walking around your house or your yard, a little exercise might do the same thing for you. And then when your animal wakes up and is rejuvenated and ready to interact again, then the two of you are on the same page.
Yeah, that does make sense because it's just like humans. I mean, we need to rest and rejuvenate as well. And we don't want to be squeezed and given
constantly.
All this attention.
Yeah. Well, and it's funny because if you look at some of the things that people are posting online about their own families, that's exactly the thing. So you have people saying, I locked myself in the bathroom because I just needed, yeah. 3 minutes. And I think, yeah, you needed 3 minutes. Your kids needed 3 minutes. Your spouse needed 3 minutes. And boy, I'm telling you, the dog needs 3 minutes too. So, again, looking at it from the standpoint that we're in this for the long haul together, and trying to make it as comfortable and predictable for everybody. And again, putting in naps, crates and, crate time, nap time, time when they can be alone is something that will happen long term, but it should still be happening even now.
That's really great advice. As much as I am into animals, I don't think like that. So this is very helpful and be very helpful for my clients as well. So I know you were talking about a really good book called WAG, The Science of Making Your Dog Happy.
Oh yeah. So look at this. I don't know if this will show up. Let's see if it will show up. This is the book. Isn't it cute?
I might be just a little bit delayed because everybody seems to be on technology today during this time. So,
but that's the book right there.
A little delayed. Okay. So this is the book.
This is the book. It's wonderful. So the author is a social psychologist named Zazie Todd. And this is her first book. Kind of an awful time to be putting out a book, but it's wonderful for dog owners. So this book talks about every stage in a dog's development from puppyhood through being a senior animal. And every chapter ends with really helpful, immediate suggestions that you can implement and try. So it isn't just science for the sake of science. It's like, here's the science. If you want to know more about the science, she's got all the links to the, to the scientific publications that you can go to. But it's like, here's the science. Here's why we think this, and here's ways that right now, today, you can implement this. And it's the perfect book for dog owners, whether you've had dogs your whole life or, you're a new dog owner. I mean, obviously, I've been around dogs forever, and I found this to be one of those books that I think people will return to again and again.
Okay. I'm trying to put this on the screen. So how can people get a hold of you if they have any type, of questions, just anything that they want to ask you?
Oh, sure. So, well, I mean, they can certainly reach out through social media. A lot of people are doing that now. So I have a Facebook page for my business, which is Pet Education and Training Services. That's my business. If you search for Julie Bond, you can find it through my own profile as well. I'm on Instagram as Canine Freud, so you can find me there. But going to my website is another way to reach out. So there's a link on my website where you can email me. So my website is juliebondanimalbehaviorist.com, which is a big mouthful, I know. But you can also just email me. Like I said, it's caninefreud@gmail.com, and reach out. Let me know what your questions are, and I'm happy to answer them.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time, Julie. And I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Jeannie. Take care.
You too.
Bye.